Okay, we're back testing out the 5mm wetsuit. It is approaching the middle of October. The air temperature is 41 degrees right now. Overnight it dipped into the 30s, 39. And the water temperature is 55. Last time we did this, it was 58 degrees, I think. So a little bit colder, and we're gonna keep pushing this until we see the absolute limits of this, or at least my limits of my personal endurance. So, like before, we'll start on the banks looking for marbles and small items because there was a little bit of rain this week. And then we'll head to the deeper areas a little bit later and see what we could find in the bedrock and anything else. So there's this eerie fog of the warmer water and everything, and you know that it is starting to get cold when you can see your own breath. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens. All right, first impressions. Like the last time, the water is very cold on the feet, but I seem to think that I will adjust just fine. As before, I would recommend a hood, neoprene socks, and neoprene gloves. And that's getting a little soupy there. Gotta watch the quicksand, always probe out in front of you with your rake. Okay, on my last video I got a lot of marbles, and this real area hasn't really been underwater, but as you can see, despite how thorough you are, there's always more. Nice yellow cat eye. Without a heavy rain and a little bit of flooding over this bank, I did hit it pretty hard last time, but here's another one. After this, I think we're gonna go walk to the other side and get into the water. That's a nice one. This is interesting. It could be the trigger guard to an old firearm. At least that's what it looks like to me. We'll have to look into it. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna start by doing is between these large bedrock areas, I'm going to shovel some of this sediment and gravel into this sifter just to see if there's anything in there. Okay, I sifted a few loads, and what I'm using is a dishwasher rack, industrial. You order these online. I forget how much I paid for it, but they make the ideal sifter. Some people like to put like pool noodles on them so they float and everything. Whatever, but I did find something in here after all the sand and sediment went through the bottom. Little piece of glass, and right here another marble. Outstanding. Another sifter. There's a lot of junk in here and some broken glass, but this right here is a very old tea kettle. I'm gonna have to take this, even though it's just a part. That looks like it's something that could be very, very old. Instead of putting a pool noodle on my sifter, I like to sift underwater. Put it on the bottom of the river, shovel debris in there, and then give it a good shake. It's kind of the equivalent of going over the river bottom with a fine-tooth comb. Nothing in this one except this porcelain mason jar lid. Incidentally, the wetsuit is holding up rather well. I am not cold at all. More toxic lead, let's get it out of the river. I thought this was a musket ball, but it's not metal, so is it a marble? Maybe a clay marble that lost its color. I just fanned out the bedrock here and found this plate fragment. Interesting enough, there's a maker mark on the back. I research it, and at the end of the video we'll talk about how old this is. So much lead everywhere you look. Another one of these undefined balls. I think that I found 5 of these total. Small gear from possibly an old watch. Nice slug-plated bottle. This is one of 2 silverware pieces I found that had nickel silver on it. No corrosion at all. This is a clay marble. They usually date back to the 1800s, but they could be older as well. $1800 stoneware crock. Too bad it's not in one piece. It's upsetting that this old milk was broke. You could see 5 cents embossed on the neck. When's the last time a quart of milk cost 5 cents? $70-some-year-old razor for shaving. On this trip I found a multitude of old sodas and beers. Stand by on the cleanup at the end of the video for dates and other historic information. Cap gun. Here's a half-pint milk. Always fun to find dairy bottles. I was excited about the color pattern on this one. Older bottles will have information on them that's embossed, raised from the surface, such as the manufacturer and a lot of times date information. to get my pick and just lightly drag across the bottom of the river, and oftentimes old bottles and things will just pop right out. And here is a perfect corktop medicine. Here's a new grape soda from the 20s. I keep trying to find a perfect one. They always have little dings. This one has a tiny little crack in it. But in my next video, I actually find a perfect one. I scrape around with my pick, fan with my hands a little bit, making a current to lift all the sand and sediment. Then you just see little bits of glass sticking out like we did here, and you have another perfect medicine bottle. Brass buckle probably has some age to it. This broken 1930s Clorox bottle has a good cork in it. I think I'll take that for another bottle. A little embossed screw top, not as old as the cork tops, but a good piece of advertising. This spoon has seen some better days. This spoon says nickel silver, but is it? Stand by on the cleanup and we'll talk about its metal composition.
That says silver right on it. I think I got a piece of silver here. No corrosion on it. What a find.
This is going to be my second set of teeth I found river searching. This set does have a little bit of gold on it.
Teeth. Look at that. Oh, please be one of those 5-cent notes.
I'm so disappointed. This full quart milk, I dumped out the water and it had air in it, and when I went back underwater it lifted out of my pouch and floated away. So there's a nice one out there for anyone that wants to look for it. Stowe Dairy.
Oh, Stowe Dairy. No way. Oh, right. Look at that.
I mean, look at that.
Hello. That's interesting.
Some of these old sodas and beers are pretty ornate. I can't wait to show you them all cleaned up. This is a very old jar. And one more for the road. It's time for the cleanup, and we got quite a bit of items that are over 100 years old. We'll start with this Try It soda bottle. This is from Lake Erie Bottling Company, Kenmore, Ohio. The patent is June 2nd, 1925. Here's the first version of a hobble skirt Coke bottle, and the patent is November 16th, 1915. This one is Akron, Ohio. Then we have a new grape. New grape is also from Akron, Ohio, and the patent for this is March 9th, 1920. Other things that you find embossed on this are a flavor you can't forget and imitation grape, not grape juice. A very unique bottle. And we have, let's find it, where is it? Here it is, a milk. This half pint, C. Sunthimer Dairy. I estimate this to be around 1910. It is slug plated with the dairy. That's when you have this circle embossed with the name of the dairy. Usually those are pretty old. They put that metal slug plate into the glass making process, and it will emboss the name right on the bottle. Then we have a Chamberlain's medicine bottle. I estimate 1900 to 1910, based on the mold seam going all the way up to the top there. But that's going to be guaranteed over 100. Then we have Whistle Cola. This Whistle bottle is from 1926, embossed right on it. Almost 100 years old. Then we have the Jewel Tea Company out of Chicago. A really nice, perfect example of this. A lot of these bottles have case wear and a little flea bite or chip somewhere, but this one here is absolutely perfect. I estimate 1900 to 1910. Then we got the Big Guy Soda, Akron, Ohio. This is People's Bottling Works, and these are from the early to mid 1920s. So right around 100 years old on that soda. Then we have Tasker Bottling Company. I'm not sure about this one. I would guess 1900 to 1920. It has a nice slug plating on the front, but a big crack in the bottom. I would guarantee, well, yeah, over 100 years old is the best bet there. Then we got, what is this? Chapman's Italian Balm. And this one came out really nice. It is a screw top, though. It's probably from the 1920s or 30s. It could be 100 years old. Then we have, where is it? Yes, these little jelly. These are actually jelly jars. I found quite a few of these, and I looked up what this image is. And that is not like a pawn from chess, but what they call that is a capstan. And what a capstan is, and I might be pronouncing it wrong, it's a thing on ships' decks or on a dock that you wrap ropes around to pull heavy cargo. This company, the Capstan Glass Company, was 1919 to 1938. So that's a range. And these were from Connellsville, Pennsylvania, close to where I grew up back in PA. In 1938, the company was bought by Anchor Hawking. Then we have the Record Brewing Company right here, Elmira, New York. And trust me, this is a good example. I know I haven't gotten the crud out of it yet, but this beer is embossed, and let's see if we can see it on there. On the bottom, it says CC Co. And there's spaces between the C, and the Co. So what we have there is, I reference this in my book, and we'll give them credit, Antique Trader, Bottles, Identification, and Price Guide, 8th edition, Michael Pollock. And where you have this, it just gives you all the glass manufacturers. It's a great resource. See here, there is CC Co. without spaces, and then below, like the one I have, this is Carl Conrad and Company, St. Louis, Missouri, 1876 to 1883. So what does that mean? That means that this bottle here is between 139 and 146 years old. This is a great find. You know you got a nice old bottle or a nice old beer when you see that really thick mold seam and then it stops about here. Another indicator of these large bubbles in the glass, a little bit more primitive of a glass making manufacturer. Bubbles stretched out in the neck. That's a really nice bottle. I think that's the best bottle that I got on the trip. And then let's see what else. Yeah, the Rogers nickel silver. I researched these. They do say nickel silver on them, but they are not silver. They're 60% copper, 20% nickel, and 20% zinc, according to my research. They do really well in the river for being around 100 or older, but that's probably due to that copper content in there. Then we have little fragments of plates. I had all kinds of plate fragments. I decided I'm going to save some of these. Maybe I could research them. This one actually had the manufacturer right on there, W.H. Grinley and Company, England, and it had this number 325874, and I found this plate to be exactly from 1898. So that was interesting to track that back to a specific date. Yes, the razor. This is a Gillette Super Speed Flare Tip Z3 safety razor from the 1950s. Made out of brass. Very interesting. Then we got this cork. You probably saw me pop this little cork top out of that broken Clorox bottle, but there's a reason for it. I always take corks and I always take bottle caps. And this is not a very clean example on the inside, but this is a 32-ounce Clorox bottle from 1932, and they did still use the corks in them. So what we have here is a cork that perfectly fits the bottle. So save corks, save caps. Now what else do we have? We have all the marbles right here. These are pretty good. This one here is made out of clay. So if I could get the camera to focus on that. There we go. A clay marble. And these mostly date back to the 1800s. I enjoy finding the clay marbles, even though they're fairly common. Then I found a handful of these, and at first I thought they were musket balls. They are not made out of metal. I think they might have been clay marbles where the finishes wore off. They're really crude. If you guys have an idea what these are, please let me know in the comments. And then we have, this is part of a old cap gun, I would guess the 1950s. Not sure what company that was from. There's a few letters here, OKE. A little sugar spoon, it looks like. That looks like it has some age too. This aqua color lid, very nice. Like I said, the corks, the lids. Here's an Atlas Easy Seal jar with really nice bubbles. Found this a few videos ago. So always save them. That appears to be a perfect fit for this specific jar. Now I have more of a complete example. Of course, there would be a little metal wire that would clamp that on in a seal. But I like finding pieces and putting things together. Then we have, what is this? This little pendant, and it says Big 5'8" John. Is it a pendant? Did it go on a fishing accessory? I don't know what it is. It's a mystery. If you guys could figure it out, let me know. Little gear, always finding gears. This could be a trigger guard for an old rifle or musket or something. At least that's what it looks like to me. And here's a brass buckle. That cleaned up pretty good. Not sure the age on that. And finally, well, we do have a couple ornate
jars. This one was broke on the top, so I didn't clean it, but I thought it had a little bit of detail. Found this jar, and there's all the lead from the Bedrock that you fan the Bedrock. Couple milk glass jars. These jars right here, I think that they're about 120 years old. These may go back to the 1800s. They have seams up here, not around the rim, and they have a seam down below, but they don't meet. I'm not sure what manufacturing process this was, but they're loaded with bubbles and imperfections. Is that a Pownell mark? I don't know. Maybe. But there was the large one, and on a few videos coming up, I find more of these. They're pretty crude, and they all have that mark on the bottom. So again, if you know, let me know. Here's a little perfume bottle. Look at that thing, a lot of detail. This is probably one of the older items. It's a tea kettle. And you could tell how the holes are handmade. They're not real even. They're kind of spontaneous in there. So I wonder what that looked like when that was whole. I found one of these before, and I think this is bluing for firearms. Probably after 1900, I would guess. And I think we're closing in on it. Here's a little fishing lure right here. And this says Sonar 131. And I'm guessing that's probably from the 50s. Maybe the 60s, who knows. Okay, and what you might have been waiting for, if you lasted this long, the teeth. Here's a bridge. Somebody's teeth. The porcelain teeth are like hand carved to give them texture. The metal in here, it's like, I don't know what's on the inner part, but it's wrapped in gold. I do believe that's like gold fill or gold wrap around the metal parts. It did break when I found it. I think that my pick went through it. But based on other teeth I've found, so you have this here, and then what's up with all the teeth in the Cuyahoga River? And then you have these teeth right here. I looked these ones up, and they were over 120 years old. These ones were found upriver on this video. These ones were found here that I'm holding here are from before I started making YouTube videos, but in that same area. Maybe that was the same person. Who knows? Or maybe two different people. But it poses the question, why are there so many teeth in the river? Is it because everyone's teeth were in disrepair because of the lack of good hygiene products for brushing teeth, and a lot of people had false teeth? Maybe that's it. What do you think? And I wonder if we'll ever find any more. Probably, if we keep looking around. So that's the teeth. And, oh yes, the bonus footage on the hike with my family. This little torso and legs. It says something on the back. Is that a GO? Usually they say made in Japan on the bottom. And you could see there's holes where it had articulated arms, where the arms would move. Pretty creepy. I usually put this stuff with the Halloween decorations. So, I think that is everything. No, that's not everything. We got this Burkhart's Akron, Ohio beer. There's nothing really special about it. I mean, probably around the turn of the century. But it's a nice old beer. I hope you enjoyed the video, and remember to join me next time. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, everybody. Bonus footage, I'm on a hiking trail with a family, and I saw this. That looks unusual. I think it's a little figurine. So, hold on. It's going to be dangerous because we're on a cliff, but hold on. Look where it goes. Pop it out. And that's exactly what this weird thing is. It's a little figurine with a little rear end. All right.